big names. And currently I'm in Ghana. And by me being in Ghana has allowed me to see the beauty of the arts and to know that a lot of artists here, not just in Ghana, but across the continent and even in the States, there are people who naturally would love to be in front of high profile clientele. Since I used to bring celebrities overseas, and we have a pretty good network of high profile clientele in the States and growing, especially through art, we're connecting African Americans, African, Caribbean descent, anybody of African origin that has the talent and that resonates with the tour. We're having them create pieces centered around the World Cup. So I'm going to get into what we are doing on this particular tour, because this is actually going to be the most talked about tour in the world that you're going to hear about this year. There's 3 billion people that will be tuning into the World Cup. And right now we're curating over 200 pieces of artwork. Renaissance is my company. Like I said, we believe in healing through the arts. There are methods that you can heal through dealing with arts, dance, therapy, literature, things that, the art that we just don't even know that we have as humans to use our inner ability to heal ourselves. And what do I mean by that? I mean, stepping into nature, a lot of stuff that we don't know that was indigenous and very useful and resourceful many centuries ago. We're just bringing back that knowledge for people to heal themselves. As you know, Pele is still the #1 footballer in the world, but Pele is also recovering from cancer. So we want people to join us in sending him healing energy. And we're proving that it works because we're actually coming out with an NFT collection. And our NFT collection will be centered around footballers doing mindful practices such as yoga. If you talk to any champion, I don't care if you're talking to Jordan, I don't care if you're talking to the top hockey player, everybody has a mindful practice in order to be a champion. So we're showing people how to do that. And this is why our NFT collection will be about footballers doing yoga poses, because any champion has a mental practice of something like yoga in order to win games. It's a very powerful art, and we're showing this through our tour. Now, also through the tour, we're highlighting fashion as well. And we'll get into that shortly about what we're doing with the fashion piece. Now, this also is a passion and pride and celebration for the #1 sport in the world. And also, like I said, showcasing African artists and talent and fashion talent as well. What is the Brazilian Ghanaian connection? In the 19th century, a lot of Brazilians moved to Ghana and started tailor shops. So we're going to highlight some of those families that came over here and became famous in fashion. And there's currently over 120 million Afro-Brazilians in Brazil. We have Pele's family, who has a foundation for Afro-Brazilians to connect back to the continent, and they're supporting the tour as well. Now, the artwork that we currently have, you can go on our page, Ghana Feels Good, but we also will be honoring living and past legends of football. But not only that, but we'll also be honoring Virgil Abloh. As you know, he was a fashion icon. We plan to have a fashion show as well for fashion designers to create custom football jerseys, which is in America called soccer jerseys that will be featured in GQ and Vogue magazine. Now on the tour, we're going from Ghana to Beverly Hills, to St. Louis, to Atlanta, to Rwanda, to Qatar, to Miami, and to Brazil. Now, each tour stop, we're going to be honoring people such as author, politicians, people who have just done good in the community. It's like that
Hi, Genera. Can you, it seems so we cannot hear you. Let me see. Ooh. Okay, give us 1 second. It seems that we lost some connections for the speaker.
Yeah, sorry about that. Going back to the presentation.
It's all
So-
right.
No problem, thank you. So in Rwanda, we're going to honor President Kagame. As you know, he's a trailblazing leader. But what this has to do with the international community is the fact that I wanted to share what we're doing around the world, because there's so many people with this organization that probably could benefit or that possibly could work with us on the tour, resources. We're also looking for a sponsorship as well, or people who just want to purchase art. You know, there's different ways that we would want to engage with the members of the organization. And I just wanted to share the presentation so people can get an actually understanding of what we're doing, because art attracts a lot of high profile people. Also, since we have a lot of connections with celebrities, it's going to merge both worlds together, which produces a great room to be in. And as we know, BPIA, a lot of members like to be in rooms that benefit their elevation. And we believe in curating rooms such as that through the art events. And it will be not a good look on my part not to educate people on what we're doing and wanting to say this is the type of international network that we believe in having, dealing with fashion and art, which merges the worlds together of a lot of what we consider pop culture, fine art, but also enjoying connections and being able to be in a room with intention, built people who have the same core focus as you, which is just having a good time and wanting to be successful from an international playing field. So the Global Art Tour, we started in July and we're going to end it in February in Brazil. We, of course, on the tour, we have a lot of different people that we will be highlighting. As I said earlier, we have over 200 artworks in production per city. We have different radio media outlets that we will be engaging with. Also, we will have a lot of course, social media engagements. But like I said, the main piece here, of course, naturally are the actual events. And I know a lot of people in the organization would possibly with their talents or network of resources see a benefit for their connection with this particular project. Global connectivity, pretty much, if anybody needs this deck sent over to them, I would have no problem in emailing you. Sponsorship, partnership, and opportunities. The title spot, and we have as low as $3,000. This is all just per city. Digital partnerships, could be media, could be social media influencers, brands of that nature, even brand ambassadors. And this is one of the art pieces right here, Pele and Maradona. And these are some of the other pieces from the tour as well. Just a sneak peek, but we also have other pieces on our Instagram page. And we also have Make an Impact, those who want to just buy art and contribute to artists being able to donate and help them create more pieces for this tour would be great as well. And these are the past events that I've done in Dubai for many years, for as Dubai World Cup closing concert, which is the richest horse race in the world, Abu Dhabi Grand Prix, Cirque du Soleil shows, which was a $10 million budget for the Michael Jackson Immortal Tour. I used to bring over 60,000 tourists to Dubai in one weekend for an event. So I'm pretty good at pulling in the right people and the right spaces, and just looking forward to connecting with people, and thank you for your time.
Thank you so much, Genera, for this presentation. You know, you have quite extensive experience in Africa, and this is so important initiative for Americans, Black Americans who have not traveled outside of the country. So thank you for that opportunity. So if you have any questions to Genera, please go ahead and raise your questions.
Sure, I have a question. Thank you so much for this presentation. It was very interesting. And I'm just wondering, well, I guess I have two questions. One would be, I'm just generally curious about your own background, Genera, and how you kind of got into this work, and just like your journey of being a person of African descent, doing this type of work in the Middle East. And kind of connected to that is, you know, I grew up in, I'm also African. I grew up in Saudi Arabia, and you know, had mixed experiences where like had very positive experiences, but then being a person of African descent also had some very negative experiences. And so I kind of hold that contradiction. I'm curious about, for you being a person of African descent in this region of the world, you know, have you come up against some of those barriers or obstacles? Just how are you finding the environment and the climate doing this kind of work, being a person who is Black, being a Black woman? Are you finding that your work is respected, and you know, you're getting the resources that you need? Just if you could talk about that aspect of it. So your personal journey, how you got to this work, and then just the climate of the Gulf Middle East as a person of African descent.
Okay, nice to meet you. So initially, before I even stepped foot out there, I was just offering my services online to people out there, and you know, whether they did events or concerts or anybody in that particular space. I just said, hey, I'm based in the States. I would, you know, like to come and do business. I can book just about anybody. I have contact with a lot of celebrities. So at that time, this was back in 2009. So I had, it was a first Abu Dhabi Grand Prix going down. So I was able to get Janet Jackson out there at the last minute. And that's when I first went there. And I can say that, you know, I was treated very well. And, you know, seeing that people were polite, and it was enough for me to say, okay, I would like to live here. You know, it was that type of liking. So in 2011, I actually moved there, and I didn't necessarily face any issues being a woman or being a Black woman, but I know a lot of those things exist where I've heard stories and people having issues in that space, whether they're a woman or whether they were somebody who was facing racism. It's just, for me, I'm pretty good at picking out a room or being around people who will be in my corner, because if I don't sense you being in my corner, then I'm just out the room anyway. So I don't even get a chance to experience you at that level, because at that point, I don't need you. And it's not necessarily that you need anyone. It's the fact that, you know, it's what you would have the temperature to tolerate. Some people, of course, work a job where they would come home and they would say things as, you know, hey, I could tell they hate me at my job. For me, if I ever had an encounter like that, then I just won't be at that job anymore, because I can't be around that energy of hate or somebody not liking me, and I'm trying to just do my best. And that means I can't operate in my best if I'm not around the best people. And that's always been my ideology, is if you're around good people, you can only do better things each and every time, just because the environment and frequency is there for that to take form. Now, as far as my experience as being a woman in the Middle East, there's ways to, of course, navigate that, because a lot of men there, let's say Arab men and other Arab men, they don't necessarily get along. And since I know they don't get along, and as a woman, or as a woman that's not from there, a woman that's from America, I had an advantage that I can come in the room and I can have a different, I would say, win over somebody who may be an Arab man. So I learned the nuances of the place to understand, okay, cool. I know how to approach this situation, I know how to approach that situation. And it's never been a situation where I felt uncomfortable or felt that I couldn't be myself. But that's just me. That's just how I navigate. I just can't be in environments that, or rooms that I know I can't navigate freely, or I can't be deterred or stopped or prevented because of people, the energy involved with the people won't allow it to be great, because maybe they're discriminating, or maybe they're just closed-minded. It just won't work. So for me, that's been my experiences. If I did ever sense anything off, then I would just exit a room. But I haven't had many experiences like that in Dubai that I would say have happened as far as racial or sexism is concerned. But what I have faced there, and what many people have faced there, is people being ripped off by financial crimes. Financial crimes are big there. Like in the past, when I used to bring events, and that's what kind of made me get out the business there, was, you know, seeing how people backstabbed each other a lot, or people were, you know, stealing money, or a lot of those different things that were happening in that space would definitely deter someone from wanting to continue, because there was a lot of financial crimes that go on behind this business, in a place where, you know, money is flowing, and you don't necessarily know where that money is going, because you could say you have $1 million budgeted event and people are using that for another way to siphon money. So there was an issue with that. So I would say, if I had to speak about an issue, that was the issue. I hope that answers your
you.
question. All right.
Yes, that does. Thank you so much.
Yep. Any other questions?
I'm gonna ask you a question. How long have you been, you know, in this business? And what would you give advice? How, you know, what advice would you give to someone that would want to engage in this type of business?
I would say I've been doing this since 2007. As far as just getting started with information and just getting my feet planted and receiving the first paycheck, I would say, from it. I would say someone who wants to get into business, you have to go around people who are actually doing it. So either find different organizations, festivals that you would want to volunteer and be a part of, because actually, there's so many different festivals. And if you go around the festival that you like and artists that you want to be around, then you can only network and build your name and start networking and say, hey, I can do this, I can go on tour and be a part of this, or just make a name for yourself in your own hometown where you're doing events and building a name for yourself, because those local artists that are famous will want to work with you as well, because you're local and they're right there, and they may be going on a big tour where they may actually need your services. So I would say just to get active and get out in the spaces where people would actually respect your work. And only how I can say people will respect your work unless you're respecting it first and going in those right doors. When I say right doors, meaning Rock the Bells Festival just happened in New York. So if you're a hip hop fan, then that may be a good avenue, versus Alvin Ailey ballet. If you're into that, then I would say get into those spaces and volunteer and network with people who run those type of productions. So I would say first start with what you actually are into, and then look at the top festivals or concerts or productions that are going on with that, and just see if you can volunteer or get to know or start networking in those spaces. And that would be my advice to get started.
A great advice. Thank you for answering that question.
Yep, no problem.
I guess I have another question. In your opinion, what is the like, are you finding that, I mean, clearly there's an audience for Black and African art in Dubai and, Qatar and these areas. Could you talk a little bit about that? Like, how are Arabs kind of consuming our art? Because sometimes there can be like a fetish thing with Black people and the art that we create. So how are you kind of navigating that whole thing? And just, are you finding that there is an appreciation of Black art and like the racial politics of it and the histories of our resistance, like as a global people?
Well, since the tour, we're going from Ghana to the States, then to Rwanda, then to Qatar. Where most of our market, of course, will be in the US. Now, as far as the Middle East is concerned, since we're doing this for the World Cup, people are going to respect the pieces for the World Cup versus first looking at, oh, well, they're African, so I don't know if I should buy the art. They're going to just respect the art because it's an art piece. And the great thing about art is it has a way of transcending race, because it speaks a language that requires no talking. It's just silence. It's just pictures speak 1,000 words, and that's just going in someone's head without having to say this was made by a European artist or this was made by African artists. They're just going to respect the work and see it from that angle, because the rest of the world would have already respected the work. Now, what my angle would be in changing the narrative, because what you're saying is something that has happened, not with what we're doing, but we have seen it to be true, where there have been, low respect or low regard for African art or artists, period. What we aim to do is next year in places like London and Paris, on high-end property that's owned by prominent sheikhs in Qatar, is to use those high-end properties to display African art in spaces that necessarily it wouldn't be hanging in. And it starts a relationships. It builds upon a foundation of, hey, this actually looks good in these spaces. And these are the doors that we're kicking down and making sure that we're going to make it look fly wherever we go. You know, if you look on our Instagram, you can see some of the art that we have. You can even see on my birthday at the launch event, that type of art that we have. We're coming to shut it down. And when you're shutting it down like that, as far as beauty and just stuff people never seen before, as far as art is concerned, everybody shuts up. And that's what we intend on doing, is shutting people up and seeing that the beauty is in our art.
I love that. And I feel like it's just very necessary what you're doing. Like it's not political, but in a way it is. And I really love that.
Yeah, check us out on Instagram. Let me know what you think.
Yeah, for sure. What was your Instagram?
It's Ghana Feels Good. You
Okay.
can see some of the art pieces there. We're about to give Genera, while he's here, an art piece. So we're about to, be in the media coming up. So be on the lookout for that.
That's what's up. I will. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you. That was very informative.
Awesome. Any more questions?
Okay. If there's no any other questions, I just have one more question. Would you be willing to come back and talk more about this with BPIA? I know today's Sunday. If you'll be willing to come back and talk to us more, within the BPIA and
Yeah, for sure.
all right.
Sure, there's things that's always going to keep changing with the tour, because as more celebrities get on board, because when we get in the media, it's going to just be expansive, because people say, oh, wow, we didn't know you were doing this tour. I want to be a part of this. So a lot of great things are going to take shape. So I would love to.
Okay, and it's another question here on the chat from Nigel. Can you recall what are the avenues to get involved?
Yeah, I'm about to drop my email address, and that people can send me their email address, and I'll just send them the presentation. I'll just forward them the presentation from there. But how can they get involved? It could be if they know any journalists, if they know any art buyers, if they buy art, if they know any sponsors, if they know in any way that they want to network and what they do and how they can be of use and how we can help them, we're open to discussing. Thank you, everyone.
Okay. Okay, perfect. So once I receive the presentation, I'll go ahead and share this, including the recording.
Okay, then I'll send it to you now. Okay, no problem.
Yeah, I'll send it to everyone.
Okay, that sounds awesome.
Give me just 1 second. Let me see. All right, so I'll definitely send over the presentation, and our recordings are in our YouTube channel at BPIA YouTube channel, but I'll also send out to everyone that signed up today about your presentation once I received in the recording. This is really important information, and I really appreciate that you have taken your time to share this information with us.
Oh, absolutely, no problem. Thank you guys, and hope everyone has a lovely Sunday.
You too. Take care.
All right, you too. Bye.
Thank you. Bye.